Hello, people of the internet, and today we are looking at Process Under Socialism by Peter Kropotkin. I'm very sorry that I don't have any kind of Easter special or any kind of spring equinox special going on right now. I'm not really sure how I would do something like that, but I'm very much looking forward to this. I really like Peter Kropotkin and I like his work, and I do agree with him on many things. Great anarcho-communist thinker, and very great man. I shall begin. As to parliamentary rule and representative government altogether, it is becoming evident that it is merely stupid to elect a few men and to entrust them with the task of making laws on all possible subjects, of which subject most of them are utterly ignorant of. True, very true. We do have a system like that, and it really is not working these days. We elect officials to govern most things in our existence, and yet for some reason everything keeps on failing miserably. I mean, the elected officials couldn't handle a frigging pandemic. I mean, God, you know. It is becoming understood that majority rule is as defective as any other kind of rule, and humanity searches and finds new channels for resolving the pending questions. And then he proceeds to talk about how various unions and whatnot would not elect people, but merely make agreements amongst each other. For example, the Postal Union did not elect an international postal parliament in order to make laws for all postal organizations adherent to the Union. The railways of Europe did not elect an international railway parliament in order to regulate the running of the trains and the partition of the income of international traffic, so on. No need to get into all of those examples, but I do kind of think that at the current moment, electoralism is hard to get rid of, saying as it's been so ingrained in our society, but it can probably gradually go away. For example, I do think that over time we can replace traditional firms with co-ops and mutual aid networks, which are mostly horizontal in their processes of managing work and managing the economy and whatnot, and managing people's needs and providing people with their needs, rather. Sorry. Again, all of these this is on the fly again, so, no script or anything like that, just me talking. To agree together, they proceeded by means of agreement. To agree together, they resorted to Congress, but while sending delegates to their Congress, they did not elect MPs or some kind of member of parliament or anything like that. Bons à tout faire, which I probably butchered because my French isn't good, which is basically, from what I've read on Google, bons à tout faire means all-purpose workers or something of that nature. They did not say to them, vote about everything you like, we shall obey. And I agree there. I do think that if we do have any kind of a parliamentary system or any kind of a voting system, like where if we ever elect a delegate to fulfill certain tasks, or a list of delegates, we should not ever just let them decide everything. We must always give them some accountability, and if we disagree with anything that they would propose, then I think that we would have to be able to propose some kind of counterexample, some kind of processes, some kind of counter policies, or make some kind of compromise. They put questions and discussed them first themselves. Then they sent delegates acquainted with the special question to be discussed at the Congress, and they sent delegates. Delegates, not rulers. Their delegates returned from the Congress with no laws, key word there, no laws in their pockets, but with proposals of agreements. Proposals, meaning maybe this, but if you have a better idea, then we can see how that works as well, or, again, make a compromise. Such is the way assumed now, the very old way too, for dealing with questions of public interest, not the way of lawmaking by means of representative government. Representative government has accomplished its historical mission. It has given a mortal blow to court rule, and by its debates, it has awakened public interest in public questions. But to see in it the government of a future socialist society is to commit a gross error. So in other words, state socialism is cringe and bad, so no, don't do that. Each economical phase of life implies its own political phase, and it is impossible to touch the very basis of the present life, private property, without corresponding change in the very basis of the political organization. Life already shows in which direction the change will be made. Not in increasing the power of the state, but in resorting to free organization and free federation in all branches which are now considered as attributes of the state. Essentially, instead of having private property, which doesn't necessarily mean like we're all gonna take your toothbrush or anything. In socialism, we don't necessarily agree with the idea of taking away someone's personal possessions, but we do want to abolish private ownership of the means of production, so that we, as a people, own the means of production together and operate it through means of agreement, through discussion, and without hierarchical authority. I think that sounds very much agreeable. Life has already shown in which direct the change will be made. This part here, this last sentence here, it sounds more like, instead of competing firms, united unionized trades that collaborate with trades of other crafts and other arts and other industries of sorts, so to speak. For example, like companies of companies, maybe not companies companies might not be the right word, but like, for example, people organizing together, all with different skills, all with different expertise, and would all, instead of competing against each other, they would collaborate with each other for the sake of meeting human needs, not for the sake of personal gain. I hope that we will one day reach an economic system more like this. I don't know if we can eliminate electoralism completely, but I do know that one day we can probably decrease the amount of electoralism we would need. For example, we can probably resort electoralism to temporary delegates who can be recalled at any time, and are also no longer like delegates until once their task is completed. I think that this is a more rational way of organizing an economy, much more so than this capitalist crap. It's cringe and not based. Anyway, I think that wraps up this video, and I will leave a link to this small little excerpt essay thing. It's only a single paragraph. I don't know how it's an essay. In the description, and check it out.